stuff, that's when tourists come, but
this meeting to order of the August 26, 2024 meeting of the Housing Action Committee of the town of Hilton Head Island. First step is to approve the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
Stuart, Sandy. All those in favor of the adoption of the agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Thank you. Any opposed? No opposed. Thank you. We have a relatively short agenda today for once, and I think this is the first time there were ever no attachments to the package we received. So don't get used to that, right? That will change. Let me say, as we're starting, we have this meeting today. We had already agreed that there would not be a meeting in September. So our next meeting will be the October 14th meeting here at 10 o'clock. And the reason for the cancellation of the September meeting was that there is a lot going on in terms of displacement documents and events coming up that we'll be talking about a little bit. So this will be our only meeting until October 14th. Let's move right to unfinished business, and I'll turn it over to Quincy for updates.
Jack, we
Yes.
need to approve the minutes.
Uh,
Need to approve the minutes.
Oh, approval of the minutes of the July meeting. Sorry, thank you, Stuart.
So moved.
Any comments? Moved by Stuart Bell.
Second.
Second. Any comments? Discussion? Those in favor of approval of the July minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Let's move to updates from Quincy then. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. All right, new mics. So a few brief updates. So we do have some upcoming community events. On September 5th, we have our Jonesville neighborhood gathering and cookout. That'll be again on September 5th at 200 Jonesville Road from 5 to 7 p.m. We also have some flyers in the back if anyone's interested. We have flyers in both English and Spanish. So during this event, residents will have the chance to meet with town staff from several key departments, including planning, engineering, fire rescue, public safety administration, and the Gullah Geechee Community Development Corporation. These staff members will provide information on a variety of the ongoing projects and initiatives, including a request for proposal to revamp the former Driftwood Stables, enhancements to roads, parks, open spaces, and pathways, stormwater management and driveway access, discussions on zoning districts, and maintaining community character. So feedback from residents will be invaluable in helping the town create plans to enhance the neighborhood and manage growth of the area. We also have the Muddy Creek Neighborhood Gathering and Cookout, which is scheduled on September 12th at 30 Bryant Road. The time will be 5 to 7 p.m. as well. Very similar to the Jonesville event. During this event, residents will have the chance to meet with town staff from several key departments, including planning, engineering, fire rescue, public safety administration, as well as the Gullah Geechee Community Development Corporation. So you'll be able to ask these staff members questions in regards to ongoing projects and initiatives, to include providing input on the conceptual plans for the Bryant Road track, the town-owned property on Bryant Road, efforts to address issues within and enhance the Muddy Creek neighborhood, enhancements to roads, parks, open spaces, and parkways. Flyers have been posted on social media. A press release will be out today. So if you have any questions about these events, please let me know. We've also submitted a public comment for the QAP. We've also submitted letters to our state delegation, providing recommendations on what we felt will make Hilton Head more competitive in that process. So we're really excited about that as well. A few other things. I just want to thank everyone that's had the opportunity to go out to lunch with me. I think it's been a great opportunity to learn more about you, as well as you learn more about me. I think it's bringing us closer as a group, and hopefully we could push some of these initiatives forward. Lastly, I've had some meetings with some community stakeholders to include Community Works. in which they discussed their first-time homebuyers program, some of their assistance that they do for small businesses. So there could be some potential financial counseling as well, but there could be some potential for a future partnership with organizations that do some similar work. And we continue to meet with Habitat and are actively reviewing available properties suitable for Habitat development. So we're really excited about that partnership and seeing where things go moving forward. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Questions, comments for Quincy? Okay. Let's move on to talk about our work group updates and building on what Quincy said about Muddy Creek and Bryant Road. There was a meeting, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks ago now, on site, which was mostly town staff at the Muddy Creek property. Our group that's been working on that subject, Muddy Creek, Bryant Road, and other new developments, was invited to come out to that. Dennis Crawford and Sandy West and I were able to be out there. And a couple comments. One is, what a beautiful piece of land that is. I should say Zenos Morris was there also. He is director of built environment for the town. Yes. And very much involved in looking at those tracts. But as you recall, Muddy Creek is 7 acres plus in size, beautiful characteristics on the land, beautiful tree cover. It had been the home to several trailers in recent years, but utilities are extended to the property and really has a lot of potential for affordable workforce housing, and also to be kind of a cornerstone for that whole neighborhood that goes well beyond this 7 acres. So when we talk about the Bryant Road tract specifically, we're talking about those 7 acres. When we're talking about the Muddy Creek neighborhood, we're talking about a much larger area that extends out to Spanish Wells Road and beyond. And part of the idea there, and this is coming from town staff, and I think it's a great idea, is that this can be an area for revitalization, as well as new workforce housing that can specifically go on this 7 acres on Bryant Road. But also, it really has the opportunity to take a look at that neighborhood, have some community-centered activities that can go on the tract, possibility for some incubator things going on for new small businesses. So that's all very exciting. It's a heavy lift to get there, but there's a lot of will that's behind it at this point. And there's the potential for other tracts that could take some affordable workforce housing nearby the Bryant Road tract. That's not the only one that's got possibilities for some new things. So that's very exciting. I think as a follow-up to what's happening at North Point and also well down the road, that's probably our next great opportunity to do some good things in the community housing. We ought to open that up for a little discussion. Quincy, if you have anything else to add to that.
Sure. I will say a few things. So what's unique with the Bryant Road track is that this will be a pathway to home ownership. These will be dwellings for purchase. I will also add that at the Muddy Creek neighborhood event, we're going to incorporate the feedback that we received from the residents into the overall plan. So, it's not just a community cookout to meet the staff. It's also for us to listen and learn and integrate that feedback into our overall plan.
And good point. Whereas North Point is primarily rental oriented, the thinking is that this 7 acre tract that potentially comes next is is ownership oriented for the homes that can go on that tract. A lot of work to be done. There's no specific land plan designed yet, but there is a planning group that the town's looking to engage. I think is that a fair characterization, Dennis? So that's exciting. I think that's one of the types of things that this group has been looking to be able to sink our teeth into. A lot of great possibilities there. Dennis?
Jack and Quincy, in connection with the home ownership aspect of it, are we also concurrently trying to determine how that would work, how we help people with home ownership? I would assume there's down payment requirements that we would have to assist in or things of that nature. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say that's a part of our conceptual planning process to think through, how we could make access to these homes attainable for the workforce. So those are areas that the work group could certainly help us think through.
Just to tag on to that, there are several entities out there that have recently received funding specifically for home ownership down payments. The Beaufort Jasper Housing Trust just did a round of grants for home ownership. I believe Habitat for Humanity was one of those, but there were several others. So I feel like the key here really is how we can coordinate all of these resources, because there are some funds out there. We've just got to connect the dots so people who are eligible for these homes know about these opportunities.
Very good. Other comments?
I have just a quick question, and that is, will this work group be working on who will be an application process, how people will be selected to potentially be a part of this program?
I think that's something for us to probably discuss further. If those are suggestions that the work group has, what the application process should look like, we could certainly consider some of those recommendations.
Other comments on Muddy Creek, Bryant Road? Okay. Stay tuned. There'll be a lot going on there. And the two events on September 5th and 12th, right?
Yes, that's correct.
We're hopeful that all of us in this group can attend those as well. I think that's going to be a great opportunity to engage with residents in that area specifically and in a wider area, and get a better feeling for what folks in the public are thinking about the possibilities there and beyond. So, and you've all received that notice as to time and place and all that. So if that can work for your schedule, we sure hope you can be there. I'm planning to be there, and I know some of us maybe cannot with other commitments and travels. Anything else on that subject? That group is our work group. There is myself, Luana, who cannot be here today, Sandy West, and Dennis. As I say, Sandy West and Dennis and I were all there at that meeting, but we will continue to stay on top of that and keep you informed as well. And as you get involved with those meetings, please let us know if there's anything else you're hearing or seeing that we can add into the knowledge base there. The next issue is land acquisition and development, specifically oriented, not only oriented to, but specifically oriented to the Memoranda of Understanding for Habitat and for the Coastal Community Development Corporation. I have received an update that IAX was also involved in about that, but and I don't know if there's anything else to say on that subject yet. I know there's some things in the works there that.
Yeah, they're still working through a couple of things, but the update that we got is as far as what we know right now.
Okay. But there are some rays of hope.
Yes, there is. There is. They're doing the due diligence process right now, and so there is some hope with that. and we're hoping that, you know, it works out, everything goes well.
To this point, Habitat's recent work has all had to be off-island
Yes.
because of lack of availability of land on Hilton Head since the area off Marshland Road was completed last year, I guess, or early this year.
Correct. And what's amazing about that is that we have been working off the island, and, you know, I want to say 80% of our volunteers drive from the island to Beaufort to build. So it speaks volumes to, and every day we get asked the question, when are we heading back to Hilton Head? So I know they're excited, you know, and everybody is, I think, you know.
Very good. Next is displacement, and Quincy, you might take us through in a little more detail the next steps on displacement. At our last meeting, there were concerns raised about, Pastor June specifically raised the issue about whether her church should be designated as the lead on the faith community part of this. Can you give us updates as to where that is and what's coming next?
Sure. So we're going to have, we have one of two tabletop exercises scheduled. One will be on September 12th, September 13th, for the displacement work group. Through that process, we're going to examine if there's any gaps in services or are there any gaps in the plan that we need to further review to straighten up a bit. Our hope is to represent the displacement plan to you all on October 14th. We're going to have a second meeting sometime in September, early October scheduled for that same work group. But we're looking at creating an SOP, standard operating procedures for the plan, a robust checklist. So it's very clear who does what in regards to the plan. But right now, we did have a kickoff meeting about a week or so ago with the work group to just kind of walk through this process. But again, September 13th, we had the meeting scheduled. I keep thinking about the engagement of it. September 13th, we have our first tabletop exercise scheduled, and we will have another prior to our meeting on October 14th.
That work group here is Sandy Gillis, Luana Grace Sellers, Sandy West, and Katie Varon. So they're all in the loop on this and been invited to those meetings.
Yes, there was a recap that was emailed out towards the end of last week just to make sure that all members were up to speed. But yes, everyone's been invited to our kickoff meeting on September 13th.
Okay. Very good. Anything else on displacement? Our next work group, and I'm just going down the list of our 6 work groups here. Land management ordinance. We know there is some general revision to the LMO that needs to be coming up, and we also know that North Point is going to need some work on the LMO provisions and specifics on zoning there. Our work group there is Stuart Bell, Ajax Castellanos, Janet Fontano, and Dennis Crawford. And I have also had an update on North Point. That has not been specifically in our purview to this point. We talked about that a bit at the last meeting. There is a separate advisory committee put up by the town that's working on that together with staff, and Ben Brown is the director of that project from the staff standpoint. But he provided an update to me a week or so ago, and it's clear that our role there is going to be more oriented toward LMO provisions, specifics as to how that development plan becomes reality, zoning for the property. So if that land management ordinance work group can be ready to be called to action there. And Stuart, could you call that group to order?
Yeah, we have a meeting set up for October 3rd with the land management group with the town to talk specifically about the North Point amendments necessary and work through that. We'll see where that goes. I'm not sure there's much going on other than that at this stage, but they're obviously listen to some of the back office stuff going on about potentially available land and stuff. There may be more that come down the pike. There's several parcels along Marshland Road that we're still wondering about what's going on. That could all work into that down the road, but right now there's no real activity there.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on that subject? Funding sources, we know that group has met a couple times. That is Sarah, Stuart, Janet, and Dennis. And I don't know that there are any updates on that for
No updates on that
for this meeting, but that group is already activated. And then our last group really is not activated yet, needs to be communications, which also includes tracking and progress reporting. That consists of me, Sandy Gillis, Sandy West, and Katie Varon. So let's plan to gather that group between this meeting and September meetings. Get that moving. That's going to be an important thing, tracking and getting the word out to the community.
One question on the point. I know with the resignation of Andrew Davis as the town's chief communications officer, has there been a replacement hire made, or that's still an open position?
Yeah, so there is a new communications director. I believe she just started. So we could try to get in contact with her to see if there's a potential for a follow-up meeting, maybe with the smaller work group, to discuss specifically, I think, displacement. We need to kind of focus on that and creating the communications plan around displacement.
And we were about to jump into all those communications issues with Andrew when he resigned, so there's been a little delay there. But, could you talk to the new person about that, Quincy? And
Yeah, I could certainly make that one of our after-action items, and we could follow up, and we could schedule a meeting with that smaller group.
okay. Very good. That is our 6 work groups. So things are moving along. I think we're getting more footing on what those work groups can do, how they can contribute to the process. More conversation about that. Are we missing any topics with those work groups? Anything we need to be following up on, Quincy, from you or others? With the work group?
Sure. I would say just going down the list. So in regards to Muddy Creek, that work group could certainly help us with developing the actual stabilization plan, reviewing it, et cetera. Same with Habitat, reviewing the project proposal, things of that nature when we get to that point. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to really be engaged, utilize you all's expertise to really assist staff in developing some of this work.
Great.
Possibly, Jack, another work group to be put in. It's not the time yet, but probably after the first of the year. We weren't really involved in the budgeting process this last year. We need to be able to come up with recommendations from our side, from our committee, about what we think should be allocated to the housing.
Yes, I agree.
That usually, I think staff starts on budget probably February.
Yeah, it's pretty early on. So if that's something that you all are interested in, I would say probably having some of those meetings early on, late winter, maybe, might be a good idea.
Yeah, I'm just thinking sometime like after Christmas, we should form that group, and that one member of that group or more should attend the budget workshop if we can, and at least get our thoughts on paper towards them.
Good point. And I think that involves 2 things. One is where the dollars are allocated. The other is advocacy for more dollars.
Well, yeah, and it's also on the side of if the money in this year's budget was pretty much designated, it's for these 2 projects or whatever, and that's it. So we don't really have any other money to recommend or spend, and that's kind of hard to work forward. So we need to advocate for more funding. And it goes hand in hand, obviously, with some of the other things, the financing things, the other things that we're talking about. So I think if we, it really is to brainstorm things of what we'd like to see happen, work through Quincy to put forth a plan from this committee to at least then get at least heard at the budgeting conference, so to speak.
Anything else on work groups? Let's move to new business. Before we go to public comment, we want to reserve some time for that, but is there any other new business to be brought before us today? Hearing none, let's open this to public comment. 3 minutes apiece for those that would like to speak. Are there any in the audience that would like to speak today? Phillips.
Good morning, Ashley
Morning.
Phillips. I was looking through all my notes from these meetings. So there was an April 3rd workshop, I believe, and I was looking for the minutes from that workshop or finding out if this meeting was recorded. So I was trying to find out what happened during that meeting. And also regarding these work groups, are they going to be recorded and have meetings as well, or are they open to the public for, us to know what's happening with these different meetings? So those are my questions. I don't know if you can answer them or if they're just open-ended questions.
The April 3rd meeting, I'm looking at our schedule here. That was our normal meeting time. That was scheduled as a workshop meeting, and it was
Right.
canceled.
The workshop was canceled?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you had a
Am I,
meeting.
Well, I would say that was our displacement workshop that we had with community partners on April 3rd. The HAC meeting was canceled for that
Right.
day. But
Okay,
we
so
did have
it
our
was-
community workshop with community partners to discuss the displacement plan.
Okay, so it was changed over to a displacement.
Workshop, yes, ma'am.
Okay, and were minutes taken from that?
It was a
Workshop?
closed meeting. We didn't have a quorum of HAC members. Only a few attended. But no, ma'am. It was a closed meeting just for community partners.
Okay, so no information out for what happened during that meeting then, correct?
No, ma'am, but I could probably provide you with some notes so that you could be aware of what happened.
Okay, all
Yes.
right, and then what about these subgroups that are breaking out?
the work groups, there are several work groups of 3 or 4 folks each that are a subset of this. Those are simply working groups for discussion of issues. They are not public meetings.
They're not public meetings?
Right.
Okay,
They are less than a quorum of our group when they meet.
Jack, you do report. We report back.
Report in the general meetings, what happened.
It's all reported back to
As
the
we
group.
did today on these meetings,
But
but
these meetings, you will get a report from those work meetings.
thank you. Other public comments? Come on, folks, we need to stretch the time here a little bit. Thank you all. Here we are at 10:30. We've just gained a half hour or an hour for the rest of our day, I think.
That never happens.
Any other comments from anyone on the Housing Action Committee before we adjourn? Hearing none. September 5th, September 12th, do everything you can to be there. I think those are going to be excellent meetings with folks in the Muddy Creek, Bryant Road neighborhood area. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
Sandy West, second. Stuart Bell. Those in favor of adjournment? Those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.